I just want to show you a couple ways to kind of test out your site at these different sizes, besides just inside of what Divi gives you, to really see what your site might look like on different mobile devices. It's not even Divi, it's just a separate theme that I got. It shows a bunch of different sections and stuff. You can click in to any of the sections and see more info about projects that I've done. But what you can see is that as I just make the window smaller, it's going to start changing things to fit differently, right? So I do have this hamburger menu that kind of comes across at all times. You can see I have this kind of little explanation here that's going up vertically, that as soon as I get thin enough, that disappears. These things are all still kind of 2 columns, but as soon as I get thin enough, all of a sudden that snaps to be 1 column. Fits like this. You can see the changes like this. Also, the word menu disappears over here. So one quick and simple way is just to kind of drag your browser window smaller and see how things change. But there's a better way inside of Chrome. Make sure you're using the Chrome browser, because as of last I knew, Safari does not have this. I think Firefox has this. But if you're in Chrome and you open up your Instructor, but regardless, you can right-click on anything in Chrome and choose Inspect, and that's going to show you all of the HTML and CSS behind your site. You can take this little window, and when I'm testing for, when I'm looking at sizes, I'll actually stick this window at the bottom by these little 3 dots right here. You can dock it in different spots, and you can make it come or go. But the key is there's this little button right here. It's a little toggle device toolbar that's built into the Chrome thing. Now, right now, before I click that, it's just using the entire page, and it's showing me all the stuff that's under the hood if I want to inspect it and figure it out. But if I click this little toggle device toolbar, that suddenly will give me this drop-down menu of all of these different devices. Now, I've got some I've manually added in here. But if, for example, I want to see what it looks like on an iPhone, I can take a look at iPhone 6, 7, and 8, put it up to 100%, go ahead and refresh, and it's going to show me exactly what this site is going to look like on an iPhone 6, 7, or 8. And then you can see that my menu kind of disappears until I'm scrolling back up. The menu comes across like this, so that's quite a bit different than it works the other way. And I can flip it over to see what it looks like at landscape versus portrait. Instead of iPhone, maybe I'll check it out on an iPad, so I can see what it looks like directly as an iPad, both portrait and landscape. This is really, really powerful tool for you to very quickly see, okay, how's it look like on a Pixel phone? Or like an iPhone X, which is much thinner than an iPhone 6, 7, or 8 Plus, right? So all these different little levels, the idea, and then of course you can choose responsive at the top, which will allow you to just drag like this around and kind of see how things change. But you can very specifically put in pixel dimensions and just kind of play with it responsively. You can choose a specific device to see how it's going to look. And you can obviously zoom it in or out, fit it to your window. And then another thing that's really cool is you can actually change the internet connection. So instead of just regular online, you can choose mid-tier mobile, low-end mobile, or even offline to see if someone isn't on Wi-Fi and is just using their mobile data, and they might only have a bar or 2. You can see how that's actually going to affect the loading of your site. Are really, really cool tools built into this. To get out of it, you just click this little X. But once again, we can be on any website. So let's go to Disney.com. All right, so I'm going to go to Disney.com, and great, the desktop view. I'm going to right-click anywhere, choose Inspect, and it already remembered I can click this thing on and off. But if I'm on this thing, now I can absolutely see what Disney.com looks like on a Moto G4 instead. So you can see it nicely breaks down to 1 column, gives me a completely different menu over here, or I can set it to responsive, and I can kind of see it see how it works and it plays out at these different screens. So you can do this with your browser window. That's kind of one level. This is much better to be able to choose an actual device, because there's certain things, especially if you choose the device and then hit refresh, it'll actually try and act like it's on an iOS device or an Android device, whichever one you're choosing. When I'm building, I have different laptop screen sizes, HD size. You can add different things to these if you get deep with it. But whatever's built in is going to be enough for you guys to start with. I have to do a lot of device testing. But this is part of the game when we're building something for the web, is it absolutely cannot just look good at HD, desktop size. You need to make sure, and luckily if you're using Divi, it kind of does a lot of the work for you. But you want to make sure that it looks good at a whole bunch of different sizes, because you just don't know where someone's going to be looking at your sites. You want to make sure that it doesn't look broken and jacked up at different sizes. So that's a really, really good tool for kind of testing and seeing what things look like. So see, this has some horizontal scrolling, which is kind of cool. And you notice like the footer down here, how it all breaks down, fits. So that's kind of, there's 3 separate levels I typically go through. One, very quick like, is either using the browser window just to move it, or doing it within WordPress, kind of seeing what it looks like within Divi with its kind of free buttons you can click to get an estimation. And then the second level is when I actually inspect it and look at it as different device sizes and particular things, and look at it like this. And then third and finally is there will always be differences in even what this browser is simulating versus an actual device. So it's really, really important. I can't even tell you how many hours upon hours I've spent debugging things that, oh, by the way, Chris, our website doesn't look good on an iPad. And, even though I've gone through the inspectors and all of this, if I didn't have a physical iPad, or maybe a particular kind of iPad, like an iPad Pro 8th generation versus 4th generation, that is a major part of building things on the web, is making sure that they look good across different devices and different screens. So this is your best tool just to get started. And then after that, you certainly want to, again, at least with your phone, if you have access to a tablet, as you think it looks good using these inspectors and using the Divi stuff, you'll eventually want to kind of see how it looks on your actual device to see if there's anything hiding from you.